Many of us aspire to a dream car, and every year thousands of us save up our money and set out to realise that dream. But for a growing number of people who buy that car second hand, the experience turns into a complete nightmare. The nightmare is that their car turns out to be cloned.
Car cloning is when the identity of a stolen car is made to match that of a legitimate car of the same make, model and colour. So when the chassis number and the reg of this car have been changed to match those of the authentic car, it can be sold on to any unsuspecting member of the public.
A number of organised gangs have been systematically cloning cars. I went to the Stolen Car Squad in Dublin to find out more.
Their work is so good that even experts within my own department and within the manufacturing or the motor industry would have difficulty in determining whether the car was actually a clone or whether it was a stolen vehicle.
One of these gangs was led by this man. He ran a group of Polish criminals who were prolific in the stolen car business.
They were involved in the sale of stolen vehicles on a wholesale basis over the last 3 or 4 years.
When you say wholesale, what do you mean? How many cars?
They were doing 2 or 3 a week, which we would consider to be extremely good work on their part, I suppose.
The gang was run like a business, employing thieves to break into houses and steal the keys for cars they had already targeted. Then passing those keys to their associates who set about cloning the cars' identities to make them appear legitimate.
We are expert and we can identify vehicles if we have a belief that the car is a ringer or a clone. However, it's the ordinary punter on the street who goes out to buy a car and is taken in.
One of those unfortunate victims was this man. Because the gang is still at large, he only agreed to be interviewed if we guaranteed to hide his identity. His words are spoken by an actor.
I seen the BMW 520 for sale, so I arranged to meet this man with a foreign accent. I met him in a filling station, viewed the car, took it for a test drive, and it seemed to be in pristine condition. He seemed to be friendly enough, a well-dressed man. He was wearing a shirt and tie, looked the part.
He met this man, Alexander Rutlowski, one of the members of the gang employed to sell cars directly to the public.
I checked the vehicle out, and the chassis number came back to match with the registration of the vehicle, and I checked over the logbook that he gave me.
What he didn't know was that the paperwork he had been given was obtained fraudulently. Looking out for a few telltale signs would have alerted him to the fact that the documents weren't genuine.
On the table then we have fakes and reals among them. They have watermarks in them.
You do. All the genuine documents would have a watermark. If you hold it up to the light, you can see there's a chain motif in this particular one.
Very good, okay.
In this case, it's showing the watermark RF101, which is the actual form itself.
So there are 2 different legitimate watermarks in operation. The chain motif, and then the letters RF and the numbers 101.
101, yeah. Again, if you hold that one up to the light, you can see that there is no watermark in it.
And the colours have run
and the colours have run slightly.
At first glance, though, it's pretty good. If I didn't have another one to put it alongside, I'd probably be taken in by it.
You would be convinced, and unfortunately the normal person out there would be convinced that that is the real deal.
I met the man again. Within 15 minutes I had the tax book signed, money handed over. I paid €41,500 for the car. He said he'd post the second key to me, but I never got that.
If there's only one key with a vehicle, again, you should be suspicious, because in most cases people are supplied with 2 and in some cases 3, and they should all work. So if you're only provided with one key, you should be asking questions.
I got a phone call from the stolen car department in Harcourt Street, Dublin, and on examination of the vehicle, they found it was actually a car that was stolen. I asked was there anything could be done to rectify this. He said no. He says he'll take the car there and then, and you're out €41,500. Anyone buying a car, buying a house, it's your pride and joy, and it's just taken from you in 5 minutes.
Are you angry about this now?
These are con men. They've no conscience. All they want is money, and they're just ruthless people.
Rutlowski got a 6-year sentence for his role in the car cloning gang. Last week, his boss was also finally apprehended. I went to the stolen vehicle compound in Dublin to find out exactly how the gang got away with it for so long, and to tell you what to look out for to avoid falling victim to the same scam.
So if this car is a clone, how do I spot it from the real thing? What should I be looking for?
Okay, when you're examining the car, coming to view it, basically there's a few points of identification on this vehicle you should look out for. The first one we have is our VIN number or chassis number, which is displayed in the window. This number is basically the identity and DNA of this car. This is in fact a fraudulent VIN number which has been placed in the windscreen here.
That's very good. I mean, I would challenge even the manufacturer of the car to know that there's something wrong there. So what's next?
Next, we're going to pop the bonnet here and we're going to have a look under at what we call the stamped-in chassis number. If you are a potential buyer, you want to know where that chassis number is.
Well, it's on the struts usually, or at the bulkhead along the back.
Struts or the bulkhead, that's where we should be looking.
No, I'm not seeing it. Am I being stupid?
No, on this occasion what the thieves have done is they've purposely masked it so you can't find it. This would have been spray painted by the thieves to cover it so that when we looked along here, we wouldn't be able to see anything.
So unless I have gone to a friend or to a garage and taken a look at exactly the same make and model and year of car...
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm not going to know where to look for it.
You're not going to know where to look for it by popping the bonnet.
Anything else?
Also on these vehicles, there is what's called the manufacturer or VIN plate. You should be able to find that easily enough on the door jamb, under the bulkhead or the bonnet slam panel here. And as we can see here, one of these labels, we can see the evidence it has been removed.
Look at that. Clearly gone, and a lot of scratches all over it.
Exactly,
as well,
yeah. They've obviously used some tool to scrape that off.
What's the purpose of all this, though? Why would somebody go to all of this trouble changing all of these numbers or masking these numbers?
They're trying to hide the true identity of this vehicle. The true identity of this vehicle, if this number here is checked, will reveal that this vehicle is stolen.
So this car has an assumed identity. It is pretending to be a legitimate car.
Correct.
How do they get the details of the legitimate car?
They are ringing up people who are legitimately selling their vehicles, asking to view that vehicle, going out and taking down our chassis number and our registration details.
That is devilishly clever, isn't it? So you think that you're making a sale, but in fact they're just taking down your details.
One of the other problems facing the guards in trying to stop car clocking and cloning has been the recent invasion of UK imported cars. Last year we brought in more than 50,000 cars from across the water.
There's no doubt there is great value to be had in buying cars imported from the UK, but a very significant proportion of them have quite checkered pasts. They may turn out to have been clocked either over there or when they arrive over here. They could have had important details about them changed. They may even turn out to have been stolen.
Gary McKeown was one of the people who thought that he had spotted a bargain for sale in the UK.
Yeah, good to meet you. Called them, asked them all the relevant questions, the details of the car, the history of the car, got the chassis numbers, the registration number, and then performed my own HPI checks. Everything came back 100%.
So you did the deal and brought it home?
Did the deal, brought it home, delighted with my purchase. Got my Irish plates, taxed, insured, DOE'd, everything. No problems whatsoever.
And the system never red flagged it at any point?
The Irish system had failed to spot that the car had been stolen and cloned in England.
Protecting Irish consumers from the hidden history that may exist in a UK import is very important. If a car is stolen in the UK, it's flagged as stolen and consumers are aware immediately. In Ireland, that's not the case.
It was only when by complete chance that Gary saw a car with an identical number plate advertised online, he became concerned.
The number was a pretty unique number, and once I spotted it, I knew straight away something was wrong.
I mean, how much did you pay for this?
This cost me 14,000 sterling. Service history and all matched the miles, everything was legit. There was no reason to question it.
How many keys were there?
1 key.
That's a bit of a worry now.
Yeah, with the promise that the other keys were going to follow.
Gary believes there's a reason that thieves in Britain target Irish customers.
Because the Irish guy flies over with the money and doesn't want to go without doing the deal. If it's close to what he's after, you know, he's normally going to go for it. So it's a perfect place, and the Irishman is a perfect buyer for that type of vehicle.
Gary was one of the lucky ones. He was allowed to keep his car. It is important to check if a car has originated in the UK. Just because it has Irish plates doesn't mean that it has always been an Irish car. So check the car's history over here and over there before you buy.